This is our presentation, right?
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it very much. And we'll get started because we have a lot to cover today. So first of all, I wanted to thank everyone for coming and apologize. We're going to be a few minutes late on the webcast. It should be out on the web now, but we've had a few technical difficulties. We're trying to work through that. So our web presence and what you get to see online will increasingly get more stellar as the day progresses. We'll have some better YouTube feeds and more entertainment for all of you if you're watching this online. For this first session, you may have no choice but to watch me talk a lot, which is going to be a recurring theme throughout the day for about the next 6 hours. So thank you all for coming. Appreciate it very much. My name is Nephi Cole. I'm a policy advisor for Governor Matt Mead in the state of Wyoming. Joining me today are Colin McKee, also policy advisor for Governor Matt Mead, and Seth Wagner, our press secretary for the governor's office. This is the final energy conference for the development of the 2016 energy strategy. And I'd like to thank you all for being here. This energy strategy is being webcast. So this session is being webcast on YouTube. You'll be able to go back and see it later on YouTube on the governor's, via the governor's website or the State of Wyoming YouTube page on Google. In addition, it's also being broadcast live on Facebook and on Google+. We hope that you utilize these opportunities to go back and take a look at the session again and to weigh in on what you hear today and tell us what you think. The web address is governor.wyo.gov, and on that page there's a tab for the energy strategy. All the relevant links to today's information are under that tab, Energy Strategy, at governor.wyo.gov. If you'd like to know more about the energy strategy itself, please go to energy.wyo.gov, which is the governor's energy strategy webpage. With that, we're going to get into the first session. So the way today is being broken out is we have, Colin, do you have a agenda handy?
No, I don't, but I can grab one. Yeah.
So today we're breaking this discussion out to 4 different sessions. Those sessions will run from 9 to 10:30, 10:30 to 12, 1:30 to 3, and 3 o'clock to 4:30. Each of those sessions is dedicated to one of the strategic themes in the governor's energy strategy. Each session has its own unique YouTube feed. So if you're watching these sessions later on YouTube, they'll be cut up into roughly 1 to 1.5 hour segments. So this first segment is economic competitiveness, expansion, and diversification. So before we get started, we'd like to talk a little bit about the process that was used to develop this energy strategy and the 2013 energy strategy, and why we're doing and why we're participating in this process. Governor Mead feels very strongly that best government starts with the ideas from the people at the most basic level, and that is citizens, individual citizens. So in developing an energy strategy for the state of Wyoming, he felt it was appropriate to hold public meetings and ask people what they thought our challenges and opportunities were with relation to energy, environment, and the economy. We did this through outreach, public meetings, letters to diverse groups, using technology, using the internet like we are today to broadcast and do web surveys, and then feedback that we collect through surveys, emails, and follow-up meetings. Governor Mead's energy strategy, his energy policy, is based around a vision, and that vision is a vision of leadership in not only energy production, but also environmental stewardship, believing that we certainly can and that we do both in the state of Wyoming, that we are examples of world-class leaders in not only energy production, but also in reclamation. You drive around the state of Wyoming, people come here to see our beautiful parks, to visit our wild places. Most people don't know that we're the #1 energy exporting state in the nation. And they would never know that because we've become so good at doing both, balancing the environment and the economy. That vision statement, leadership in energy production and stewardship, led to the development of the first energy strategy and its guiding principles of achieving excellence and highest benefit for the citizens of the state of Wyoming. Those principles include leading in energy development, production, generation, and export, innovating and adding value to resource, being standard bearers in responsible development, seeking the highest benefits to the state by maintaining and growing our energy market share, good jobs, and a strong economy, creating affordable, abundant, reliable power and fuel production, and conserving our natural resources and our heritage in Wyoming. Those guiding principles led to the development of 4 strategic themes, and these themes were developed based on the input they received from you, the general public. They are economic competitiveness, expansion and diversification, efficient, effective regulation, natural resource conservation, reclamation and mitigation, and education, innovation, and new technologies. The goal of this process was to create not only a strategy and a policy, but also something that was smart. And by smart, we use this quite a bit in our office, something that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So the ideas, concepts, and the initiatives, all these smart actions, are actions that were proposed by citizens, and they are being vetted by citizens as recommendations for the governor to incorporate in the Wyoming energy strategy. So what do we mean by that? In going throughout the state, with the first energy strategy, we had roughly 100 different ideas come forward for initiatives. In the water strategy, we had roughly 60 different ideas come forward for initiatives. All of those ideas do not become initiatives. So what you're here participating in today is a vetting process where we're here today to share with you what we heard when we went around the state in our 6 meetings, and to share with you what the different initiatives were that people throughout the state proposed. Based on those initiatives, we are now asking you to tell us what you think about each other's ideas. And the way you do that is by emailing us at
energy.strategy@wyo.gov.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Yep.
Or by going to governor@wyoming.gov, going to the Energy Strategy tab, and participating in the online surveys that are there. We sincerely hope that you will do that. It really helps us to have not only qualified data, but quantifiable data that then lets us determine how you felt about these different initiatives. At the end of the day, this is an advisory process. That advisory process is one of making sure that as the governor goes forward and selects initiatives to incorporate in the 2016 energy strategy, which will probably be a far greater number than the number that are proposed, certainly will be a far greater number than the number that are proposed, that he has the best available information about who thought these initiatives were good ideas, what the challenges are with these different initiatives. So please go online and tell us what you think about these different initiatives. And remember, these are your ideas. And so as you listen to this session today, we encourage you to help us as we share with you the ideas that we heard, to tell us what you think, because certainly, Colin and I and our staff, we can sit in Cheyenne and we can make our own opinions about what we think about your ideas. We'd like you to tell us what you think about each other's ideas. So we'd like to start out by talking about where we are with the energy strategy. So the 2013 energy strategy, which was developed in the same manner, had 45 total initiatives. 19 of those initiatives are 100% complete. 77% of the total energy strategy is complete. So as we move forward, we hope to do a better job this next go of not only telling you what we're going to be doing, but of also talking about our successes from the past. And that's something that we have committed to within our office.
I think there's a slide on the next one.
Thank you, Colin. Yeah. As Colin has noted, my copy that I have, my paper copy, we actually went from 77% to 80% between the time that I made my paper copy and the time that we did this. So, which I'll digress a little bit and tell you something that's neat. If you go to energy.wyo.gov and you want to know how we're doing, this is one of the things that's really different about the governor's energy strategy. So at energy.wyo.gov, you can go to the website and you can see each initiative that we selected in 2013. Underneath each initiative, you will see that there is a fuel gauge. Those fuel gauges are attached in real time to milestones that are attached to an agency's performance plan. So as an agency moves forward in completing one of the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based initiatives that's within the energy strategy, you can see where that agency has gotten to on that energy strategy by clicking on their initiative and then looking at their milestones and then seeing the fuel gauge. So the idea here was to make our energy strategy more than just words, but something that was transparent and accountable. So if you want to know how we're doing, you want to know where we are, you can go on there and take a look. So I'd like to talk briefly about the process of developing the energy strategy.
We've got the initiatives from 2013.
Thank you, Colin.
Yeah.
So these are the initiatives, the 45 initiatives from 2013. We won't spend a lot of time going through all of them. We will say that there are some of them that were relevant that you guys talked about again this time that will continue. There are some that you are doubtless aware have occurred, things like developing a baseline water testing rule. So that was one of our initiatives. You can see all those initiatives at energy.wyo.gov. In 2013, so in these forums that we've just completed, there's a lot of discussion about initiatives that were important to people from 2013. Those initiatives will continue, so that you're aware these aren't things that we're putting off, they're things that we're already working on, that you identified this year as being important. There are things like reviewing regulations, energy efficiency in public buildings, and progressing in construction management, CO2 pipeline corridors, talking about wind taxes, the oil and gas well bonding regulation reviews, streamlining our permitting and memorandums of understanding review. So these are initiatives that are ongoing from 2013 that are not yet complete, that we'll continue to work on as we move forward also with our new energy strategy. So I'd like to talk briefly about the process of developing the energy strategy. It starts with public outreach meetings. From there, we compile ideas. We've already done those. And then we report those findings at a web conference or event. That is today. So that's what we're doing now, is we're reporting what we heard in those public outreach meetings. After that, we'll be taking a 30-day period to review comments and surveys. From that 30-day period after that, we're going to present all of the information, all the proposed initiatives and feedback we've received to the governor, who then selects the initiatives that will move forward in the 2016 energy strategy. Following that, we'll publish a new energy strategy. So it'll be a hard copy document, much like we did in the past for the energy strategy in 2013 and the water strategy. And then we're currently trying to decide whether or not enough people are using energy.wyo.gov to justify the expense in keeping that website up. So if you think that's a good idea, if you'd like to go on that website and provide feedback on whether or not that's a good process, we'd appreciate that feedback as well as we seek to make the most efficient use of our time and our dollars in working on the energy strategy. So the 6 meetings we held in the state this year occurred in Gillette, Casper, Cody, Jackson, Rock Springs, Cheyenne. In addition to that, we've had many opportunities to discuss with citizens and interest groups, different ideas related to energy. We're going to present all of those ideas that we have received that will be considered for the energy strategy today at this meeting. We had hundreds of attendees and many comments.
I think this is the last. That's another slide. It's the last one.
So we're about to begin the marathon, everyone, so forgive me. I'm going to drink a little bit of water here. And I hope that everyone is signing in so I can get you on my Christmas card list. And I hope to be on yours after today. So we'll move forward with the energy strategy. As we start to talk about these initiatives, I do want to emphasize something that's extremely important. Number one, this is an advisory process. So this process is a process of telling people, of sharing with the executive branch what you think. It's not a voting process, and it's not compulsory. And there are a lot of challenges to identifying these initiatives, because what we do is we sit down in these 6 meetings. We have at least 4 groups in each meeting with a facilitator, 2 hours per group, going through and talking about the things that they think are important with relation to energy, environment, and the economy in the state of Wyoming. So we collect a huge amount of information. We have somebody taking notes at those sessions, and then Colin, primarily myself, go back and we look at those comments, and we try and form central ideas from those comments. So for every time somebody talks about a given idea, we try and take those, move them into one place, and then we try and capture what the action associated with that is. So from the people who would, for example, say, I'm going to use shopping as my example. So people go to the mall, they try and decide where they're going to shop, what they're going to buy. They talk about the different stores, and we had 100 people said they were going to go buy shoes. So then we try and compile those 100 people into one group and try and figure out what kind of shoes they wanted to buy and how much they wanted to pay. And then we put that together, and that becomes the initiative for those people who wanted to buy shoes. And that's probably not a great example, but that's how this process works. So as you listen to these initiatives, We'd like you to reflect on the fact that these initiatives represent the ideas. They represent consensus ideas from people around the state of Wyoming on what we could be doing with regards to energy, environment, and the economy. So I'm going to read a few of those right now. You'll have to forgive us because of our audiovisual challenges. I don't have those in front of me on the screen, so I'm going to turn to read these. So here's some of the things that we heard from theme 1. These are direct quotes. Why isn't atomic power talked about? Wind energy is there forever. Solar is concerning because of water. We should continue to promote having our school buses using CNG. Expand the uses of natural resources and diversify. Collaborate. The governor could use the energy strategy to bring together other energy producing states. Wyoming needs to look to new markets for its resources. You need to expand your foreign markets. You need a stronger fight to get exported coal out of the state. So those are the types of comments that we start with. And for each of those comments, we ask people in those groups, when they made a comment like that, we would ask, what do you think? Not just what are the issues, but what are the opportunities? And so with literally hundreds upon hundreds of comments like this coming in, we then developed, and you developed, the initiatives that we're going to present to you today. So with that, these are the suggested initiatives for the first theme of the governor's energy strategy: economic competitiveness, expansion, and diversification. As a reminder, go to governor.wyo.gov and then go to the energy strategy tab and participate in the surveys and send us emails to tell us what you think about these specific initiatives. Initiative 1, Governor's Energy Leadership Initiative. For this initiative, the governor would work with other governors to identify and support comprehensive energy policies. So if you believe that this should be one of the primary initiatives of the governor's energy strategy, please go online and let us know. Initiative number 2, the second proposed initiative from the energy strategies was Commodities Transport Equality Tariff Initiative. Now remember, these are initiatives that were proposed to us by other individuals. One of the challenges that we face, and one of the challenges that we hope that you as the public will weigh in on, these initiatives all live in different realms of reality, possibility, aptitude for the state to complete these initiatives. So we realize that some of these initiatives, just because they are proposed, aren't necessarily, there are challenges to each. And so let me show this initiative. The interstate transport of legal goods into markets should not be impeded by individual states or entities based on ideological reasoning. Wyoming will implement a revenue equivalent tax on a reciprocal basis for goods originating from regions where legal trade of Wyoming products is inhibited. That is initiative number 2, Commodity Transport Equality Tariff Initiative. We'd ask you to go online and weigh in on this initiative and tell us what you think about its practicality, its possibility. And certainly we recognize that it's important as you and we will look at these initiatives that we realize that there are, again, some of these initiatives are more plausible than others. We're looking for the initiatives that will rise to the top from all of these sessions. Initiative number 3, Energy Commodity Export Expansion Initiative. For this initiative, Wyoming would actively monitor and engage in key permitting actions related to infrastructure necessary to transport Wyoming goods to foreign markets. Wyoming will pursue new opportunities for export from existing deep water ports, build and maintain international relationships in foreign markets, and ensure the marketability of Wyoming commodities. That is initiative number 3, Energy Commodity Export Expansion Initiative. If you believe that should be one of the chief initiatives moving forward, please go online. governorwyo.gov, is the governor's website. Go to the energy strategy tab and please participate in those surveys. Initiative number 4 is the Domestic Energy Market Initiative. United States coal generation facilities are advanced and environmentally responsible. Powder River Basin coal has unique properties that make it attractive and environmentally advantageous. It should be marketed for continued and increased use in generation facilities, maintaining and expanding market presence. Thank you, Colin. That is initiative number 4, Domestic Market Initiative. Have you switched the screen share? Yeah. So we're going to take a brief moment and make sure that our web feed, again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We're running on a single computer to the web this morning. We're going to make sure that the web feed is actually presenting these slides now going out as well, so that our people who are tuning in later online can read these, and also so that people online don't have to stare at my face for the next 45 minutes. We can broadcast.
I don't know, that's on here.
We believe it is being broadcast, so we're going to move forward. Initiative number 5 is the Wind Energy Market Initiative. The Wyoming Infrastructure Authority, in conjunction with the University of Wyoming, has identified positive attributes of Wyoming wind in relation to meeting Western states' electricity demands. Work done analyzing the geographic diversity benefits of Wyoming wind will be augmented with analysis of other benefits, providing weight to policies that support development of Wyoming resources. So this is initiative number 5. There's a wind market energy initiative. And again, a reminder with these initiatives, it's very likely that the number of initiatives that's actually incorporated in the final energy strategy will be somewhere between 10 and 20. And again, I think we have somewhere around 60 proposed today. So we're going to utilize the feedback that we received at governor.gov and the energy strategy tab. So the information available there to help us weed down these initiatives. Initiative number 6 in economic competitiveness, expansion, and diversification is a carbon export initiative. Markets only function when forces of supply and demand are allowed to stabilize independent of artificial externalities, such as regulatory barriers. Wyoming executive agencies will work to support the Wyoming congressional delegation in efforts to eliminate impediments to the export and unfettered trade of energy commodities, such as crude oil and liquefied natural gas. That is initiative number 6, the Carbon Export Initiative. Initiative number 7, and again, like all these initiatives, was brought to us through this public process, is Comprehensive Rail Improvement Initiative. This possible initiative suggested is this: rail transportation is as important today in the United States as it was in the late 1800s. The national economy depends on adequate transportation infrastructure. Wyoming will work with railroad companies, other states, tribes, and local governments to identify bottlenecks that hinder the efficient transport of commodities. This initiative will result in a public-private partnership to identify areas where capacity can be increased while addressing local issues and priorities, allowing more products to be moved and sold at competitive transportation rates. So the Comprehensive Rail Improvement Initiative, that's initiative number 7, talking about how we can aid in that endeavor. If you believe that that is an initiative that should be carried forward, like any of these initiatives, we'd ask you to please go online to the governor's website, the energy strategy, and to please weigh in on that initiative. And as a recurring theme, to remind you that these are initiatives that are brought forward, and these are advisory initiatives that will be taken into consideration for the governor's initiatives in his energy strategy moving forward. Initiative 8 that was suggested to us in this process was the Grid Efficiency Initiative. Providing safe, adequate, and reliable electricity at a just and equitable cost is a primary responsibility of the Public Service Commission in Wyoming. The Commission will work with power generation industries to identify areas where smart grids and other technologies can increase the efficiency of the electrical delivery system. This is Initiative 8. Proposed initiative number 9 is the Energy Market Leadership Initiative. This initiative that was brought to us is this: maintaining generation market share is important to the state's energy economy, providing good jobs, a strong tax base, and affordable, abundant power for Wyoming businesses, communities, and citizens. Wyoming will develop plans to ensure that generation capacity is maintained in the state, using a no net loss of generation capacity as a yardstick for future planning. That is initiative number 9, the Energy Market Leadership Initiative. Proposed initiative number 10 is the Generation Portfolio Maintenance Initiative. This is 10.
We're getting there.
It's early, everyone. It's early. Come
It's
back at 3 o'clock.
That's just the first session. We'll get this figured out.
Coal is a significant and important contributor to the global and national energy. As a resource, it is abundant and affordable. Technology is emerging that makes coal competitive, both environmentally and economically. Wyoming should lead in creating technologies for existing generation, advocating the integration of the best technology at new and existing coal-fired facilities globally. This initiative will center on outreach and advocacy efforts that ensure the responsible use of coal as an energy source well into the future. the Generation Portfolio Maintenance Initiative. If you believe that this should be one of the primary initiatives moving forward in the governor's energy strategy, we invite you to email us at energy. Colin,
It's energy.strategy@wyo.gov.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Yeah.
And also to go to the governor's website, to the energy strategy tab, and participate in the surveys there.
So you're going to take this next one?
Yes, absolutely. Take a couple.
All right. So in addition to hearing lots around the state on coal and diversifying, or trying to find new ways to advance the technologies for coal, we also heard support around the state on renewable technologies. So initiative number 11 is the Solar Energy Incentive Initiative. Solar energy is growing in popularity and affordability. Wyoming will support development of incentive programs for distributed solar generation and support the federal investment tax credit. You know, on a couple of these initiatives, you know, we will be going in, as Nephi has alluded to, into a comment and ranking period for the next month. And so this is still an opportunity for the public to engage. And, you know, we've kind of laid the base here of what we heard. But if there is a little bit more refinement or a different direction that the public thinks we need to be going on some of these, we're obviously excited to keep hearing more feedback. I think one thing a lot of people in Wyoming are aware of is the NEPA process. And so we like to kind of liken this as this is the draft environmental impact statement. We're putting it out for comment, and we're looking to receive your comment, and then when we incorporate all that, then we'll roll out the final. So so that's number 11, the Solar Energy Incentive Initiative.
I'll do number 2. Let's just start. We'll alternate.
All right, that works.
And Colin asked that I let him step in on a couple of these because a couple of years ago, just to share with everyone, Sean Reese, who was doing this at the time, lost his voice halfway through the day, and somebody had to pitch in for him moving forward. Collins does not want me to lose my voice before the end.
Really don't want me to lose his voice. You don't either. So.
Initiative 12 is the Renewable Energy Project Finance Initiative. And again, this is one of those initiatives that was brought to us in these public sessions, and we are asking that you weigh in on this and help give some, and help provide your feedback on plausibility, possibility, and the importance of these initiatives moving forward. So Initiative 12, the Wyoming Infrastructure Authority has the ability to provide backing for the finance of certain types of energy projects. This initiative would develop recommendations for the legislature on expanding the availability of the authority's bonding capacity to include in-state renewable energy projects. That is initiative number 12, the Renewable Energy Project Finance Initiative.
Okay. Initiative number 13. So, and I believe the basis of this initiative actually came from the 2013 energy strategy with the creation of the governor's task force on forests. And so as Nephi and I were traveling around the state this year at public meetings, the report that this task force put out was being discussed quite a bit, and they individuals liked the initiatives. And so from the information that Nephi and I received, we put together, or we kind of consolidated that information into initiative number 13, the Biomass Utilization Initiative. And so the governor will hold a Woody Biomass Symposium in 2016 to explore options for development of biomass facilities and identify needs for that industry in Wyoming. The state of Wyoming will work with federal and private partners to implement the governor's task force on forest recommendation number 10, which that recommendation in essence was to exploit opportunities to develop a biomass industry using a diverse array of existing and future forest products. So that's initiative number 13.
Thank you very much, Colin. As a reminder, these initiatives are available on the governor's website. That's governorwyo.gov. And under the Energy Strategy tab, you can review all of these initiatives. There are links to the Facebook page for with these YouTube broadcasts, as well as to the surveys. Initiative number 14 is the Natural Gas Vehicle Expansion Initiative. Wyoming currently has requirements within agencies that encourage the purchase of natural gas vehicles where practical. This initiative will develop a 5-year plan to further transition the state fleet of vehicles and school buses to natural gas. As part of the plan, Wyoming will work with the private sector to simultaneously identify areas in need of natural gas fueling infrastructure and availability of state fleet support. So once again, with all of these initiatives, these are initiatives that are proposed that become advisory in nature, that require not only action by agencies, but they're advisory in terms of giving public policymakers, elected officials, an opportunity to also review those and determine if those are initiatives that are best suited for the state of Wyoming. So this is initiative number 14, the Natural Gas Vehicle Expansion Initiative. It was an initiative suggested.
And initiative 15 under first strategic theme is Wyoming Liquefied Natural Gas Initiative. This initiative also has a relationship to the 2013 energy strategy. An initiative from 2013 was to produce a study on high horsepower applications for LNG. And that study was out, I believe, in 2014. And it had a number of different recommendations in there for what the state could do to, I don't know if incentivize is the right word, but advance the use of LNG in Wyoming for haul trucks at coal mines, for hydraulic fracturing rigs, for a number of different uses. And those recommendations were great. And so a number of individuals were interested in how can we start to implement those recommendations? And so with that, we've developed initiative number 15. So in 2014, Wyoming issued a study on potential to utilize liquefied natural gas for high horsepower applications. This study presented a number of recommendations, including the build out of smaller LNG production plants as a proposal. Wyoming will implement recommendations to increase the accessibility and utilization of LNG. So this is just another proposal on how to add value in state to our resources and likely reduce some of the costs for industry if we can get some of these base technologies up. So.
Colin, thank you very much. So one of the things that we heard throughout our visit in the state was that these are challenging times, and I think that everybody would agree on that in the state of Wyoming. But there was a lot of discussion of the importance of preparing for the future and the Wyoming can-do attitude and the need to continue to lead. And this initiative largely reflects those comments, and there were many. So does the Infrastructure Investment Initiative. It's initiative 16. Wyoming is currently in the position of preserving much of its infrastructure assets as opposed to improving them. To prepare for a sudden increase in production, Wyoming needs to invest in its infrastructure now. Infrastructure investments include, but are not limited to, highways, roads, bridges, local government infrastructure needs like water, sewer, business-ready locations, and more. This initiative would result in a methodology for prioritization of key infrastructure investments that can be provided to the legislature, along with possible mechanisms for acquiring necessary capital. So this initiative would be, again, advisory, providing a prioritization scheme and recommendations for consideration of elected officials.
Great. And the last proposed initiative that we have under theme 1, we had titled at this time the Wyoming Industrial Initiative. I know, and it's probably gone back much more than the last couple of years, but especially during the last couple of years, there's been a lot of discussion in the state about what can the state do to attract various industries to add value to our resources and possibly be able to utilize products from each industry so they can work better together. And so we've been looking at that for a little while now, and there's still great interest around the state about what can we do to get industrial facilities here. And so with that, we put together this proposed initiative. Maintaining our position as a world-class energy producer entails competitively producing, adding value to, selling, and transporting our energy resources. Existing infrastructure and resources can be leveraged by new industries. Wyoming is blessed with large reserves of many different types of energy resources. Opportunities exist to attract industries that will add value to those resources in the state, increasing employment and revenue. Wyoming will develop a comprehensive strategy to find new and expanded markets for its resources. So again, that's last initiative of the Wyoming Industrial Initiative for Theme 1.
That completes the list of initiatives for economic competitiveness, expansion, and diversification, the first theme in the energy strategy. So I'd like to talk a little bit about where we go from here. And so what happens next. With these initiatives, again, we're asking that everyone weigh in. These are initiatives that were brought to us in the public process. We're asking you to give feedback on these initiatives by going to the governor's website, the Energy Strategy tab, and participating in the surveys that are there, and sending us emails and telling us what you think about a specific initiative. If you have one specific initiative, that's all I'd like to comment on. An email works great. We value very, very much your participation in weighing in on all of the initiatives and kind of giving us an idea, not only of those that you might feel very strongly about as a single initiative, but how you believe that they should all rank out. That information will then be considered and will become part of the advisory information that goes with these proposed initiatives to the governor's desk as he selects the initiatives that will ultimately become part of his 2016 energy strategy. Each of these initiatives has different challenges. There are different levels of capacity associated with it. There are different levels of opportunity, different challenges. So as these initiatives are weighed, some of the things that will go in to deciding which initiatives move forward will be things like plausibility. There will be things like agency capacities. Those types of discussions will have to occur related to each initiative to determine if they are initiatives that should move forward. If they do move forward, the initiatives will then be given to a specific agency director. That agency will be responsible for developing the smart implementation plan for that initiative. So that will mean, rather than just a paragraph and a statement, each of these will be analyzed thoroughly, and a specific plan will be developed with milestones, with dates, with deliverables for whichever initiatives are selected to move forward, and those initiatives will then become part of agency performance. Initiatives that we determine can't be made into that type of actionable, measurable initiative are unlikely to move forward. So with that, we thank you for participating in this first session of the energy strategy. It went quicker than we thought it would. We apologize for those of you who are here. We hope that we'll get some coffee and join us again for our second session, which will begin at 10:30. And that's the time that session is scheduled to begin for the second session that will then be broadcast until the noon hour. So we believe that once our technology is working, we hope to have that up before the next session. But the next session we'll feel a little less hurried, and we'll probably spend a little more time that next session. If not, we apologize for giving you a break. So thank you very much, and we'll see you all for our 10:30 webcast.
Thank you. Stop broadcast.